Well, it's what is Monday today, right? Yeah.
It is Monday.
And it's quarter to 11. We're just getting started. We put the yellow Norton up on the lift. Just took the right foot peg off. And we're going to go into the tranny and see what we see. And then see all the parts that we have in the box that the client gave us down here. Nice goodie box full of parts. We'll see what we have there. And we'll see if we can find out why the shifting was hard, and probably end up going into the primary to look at the clutch, because when shifting gets hard, 9 times out of 10, it's actually the clutch dragging, not the tranny. But when it gets hard, people stomp the shifter a little bit harder because it's hard to do, and then it gets a little harder, so they try a little harder, and eventually something bends inside the primary. Well, really, the whole problem was in the clutch. So anyway, that's probably where we're going to go. That's just a guess. You never know. So we're going to go into that bike, and here's the start of the project. All right, it's 11:20, and we are taking a few steps back. We pulled off the outer cover, and the client said that he'd gone in here and I don't know, looked at some stuff. I don't think he'd ever taken this inner cover off because it's tight as a drum, everything's clean as a whistle. And by the time we got ready to pull that cover off, we said, let's rethink this. Let's not go into the transmission until we make sure that it will not shift by hand. And then we will go into the primary and check the clutch out first. Now, I'm going to set this up in the tripod and continue this video showing that we can shift the transmission by hand. All right, what we're going to do here is Kevin's going to spin the rear wheel. I'm going to select the 4 gears by hand with a screwdriver on the shifter arm inside. And let's see how smooth it is. I know it's smooth because we did it. All right, so let's see. Right now, we should be down here in first gear.
Yep.
I'm going to try first neutral. There's neutral. All right. There's second. Okay, let's go up, and there's third right there. And let's see if I can get this guy up higher. And there's fourth right there. We've got all gears. Let's go down. Third. Second. Let's try for neutral. Neutral. First. Okay, we got all the gears, and it feels smooth. And we're not going to take this apart now. We're going to put the bolts back in, tighten it down, and go into the clutch. At this point in time, I don't see anything wrong with the tranny. I'm not going to take it apart. Okay? That's just a just because. Let's go into the clutch side and see what we see.
You want to go ahead and shift this into neutral now?
Yeah, I shifted into neutral now. Perfect. Neutral. Perfect. Can't beat that with a stick.
Okay.
All right.
Here are the nuts.
All right. All right, I've tightened up the bolts on the other side, not closed it down. Kevin's taken off the cover over here on the primary, and we're getting ready to release the clutch right now. The book is very clear in its warning that if you try to take this spring plate out without using this special tool, it will hurt you, and it will. So be sure you have this tool to take the pressure off of that spring plate in order to take the clutch plates out. Okay, so it's in place. This screws into the release, and we're going to tighten this down and take the pressure off. And you know you're there when that whole unit spins freely. See, now it's starting to spin. Another half turn and you'll be completely free. There. Okay, so now it can be taken out. You do that by releasing this spring right here that holds it in.
Yeah, let Dummy get down here with this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Good man. Yeah, just pull it out all the way around. It's a spiral spring. That lets you take the pressure plate out. Now we're going to pull these plates out and see what they look like. It'd be neat. It would be really neat if we pulled something out of there that was a, smoking gun. We'll see what happens. Very shiny, right there.
Yeah.
Huh.
They're sticking.
Huh.
Okay, I'm gonna need a different. Huh, interesting.
What you seeing?
Hmm?
What are you seeing?
Oh, I was just looking at how these are riveted, and it's just another different kind of.
Another plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plate, yeah. Okay, where are your little hooky things?
The little hooky things are usually in that top left drawer, big one to your left, down one. There you go. Yeah, try those.
Yeah. God bless street sweepers. You should tell them about these.
Okay. All right. See if we can get those in there.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful.
Here, give me one of those. Let me show people. Believe it or not, this is a whisker out of a street sweeper brush. I find them all over the neighborhood because the street sweepers regularly lose whiskers. And I bend the tip. Let's see if I can focus on this thing. Bend the tip down just a little bit, heat it and bend it. And then you can use that to pull clutch plates out.
Yeah, it's another clever example of getting things you need.
You know, what they say, necessity is a mother.
That's right. Ah! Yeah, I mean, clutch plates are sticking, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But not that bad. That's the back plate.
Okay, pull that guy out.
Yeah, I don't know, those ugly pins.
Yeah. And you're all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now, looking at the teeth are not hammered in here. And the teeth on the inner hub, they're a little worn, but they're not hammered enough to cause the plates to not slide. So I don't see anything wrong in here. That smells okay. Hear that clicking? That's the Kickstarter ball.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not seeing any major problems over here. Let's go over and look at these plates. Very, very sticky. Not aware there. Pry those apart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got that. Get that one. Very sticky. All right, now, if you are the owner of this bike and you are working on this bike because it is your bike and you want to do it yourself and say, gee, if I clean these and it doesn't work, I'll just do it again. That's a wonderful philosophy. However, this is a business and time is more expensive than parts. So once I have a clutch apart that I don't like just because it's a little sticky, I replace everything. Now you may say, why not just replace the fiber plates? Sorry, been there, done that, had to go back in and replace the steels also. So I don't just replace fibers, I replace steels and fibers, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to order a set of plates If there is not a set of plates in that box of goodies, I'm going to order new ones. In the meantime, we'll clean the sludge out of this cover, clean the sludge out over here, and I'll let you know what we find when I open up the goodie box. All right, Kevin's over here cleaning out the primary case, and it was put together with silicone. I don't like silicone. Silicone does not stop oil leaks, so he's cleaning all that out. Over here, I discovered a problem. The friction plates in this clutch are, this is the inner pressure plate, this is the outer pressure plate, and let me rephrase that. This is the inner pressure plate, this is the outer pressure plate, this is your pressure spring. You're supposed to have 1, 2, 3, 4 fibers, 1, 2, 3 steels in between here and here. There's an extra plate in here. I don't know why. Somebody put in an extra plate. So we're going to put it back together without this plate, which will give all of these more room to release, and see how it feels. Doing this, I mean, normally I would just at this point order all new plates. But I'm going to go ahead and put it back together, see how it runs, and if it runs okay, if the clutch works okay, if the clutch doesn't slip, and have all good actions, we'll call it good. If it doesn't, we'll order all new plates. So that's where we are, getting ready to put the tranny back together, put this cover back on, and put these back in the clutch, put a new gasket on the cover, close it all up, put oil in both the primary and the tranny, and give it a ride. Now also what we found, let me show you this. Let me show them that primary chain. This primary chain is, as we would say, banjo tight, way too tight. There should be a nice soft, half an inch, quarter inch. This is very, very tight. We're going to loosen that up, okay? That puts strain on the bearings on both the clutch and crankshaft. So we'll loosen that up a little bit. And at the same time, look at this rear chain. It also is banjo tight. There's no slack whatsoever there. So we'll loosen that up a little bit also. So we're going to adjust both chains, put the clutch all back together, lube it, close the primary up, lube it, and do a test ride. Let's talk about this. To adjust the front chain, we have to loosen the adjusters on the transmission. And we have to loosen the rear wheel, get some slack in the rear chain, so the transmission can be pivoted forward to loosen this chain. So we've got it pivoted forward now. Well, we have the adjusters loose, and you can see we have lots of slack. So now we're going to take some of that out. I'm going to go to the other side and zoom in on the adjuster and show it to you. What you have to do over here, let's see if we can get in here. Let's see this. Here's the adjuster up here. You'll notice there's a nut on either side of it. That moves this transmission mount forward and back in the slot in order to move the transmission in order to tighten or loosen the primary chain. So now what Kevin's going to do now is tighten this one. Let's see, you're moving it back, right?
Back, yeah.
So you're going to loosen this one and tighten the back one in order to pull it that way to tighten that chain a little bit, because right now it's too loose.
Right.
Okay? Also, you have to loosen this top bolt, which is captive, thank goodness. There's no nut on the other end, or the nut's captive. You have to loosen that, and you also have to loosen the pivot bolt down here at the bottom in order to do this adjustment. They could have made adjusting that primary chain harder, but it would have taken a lot of engineering time to come up with a more difficult method. So that's what we're doing now. Loosen the top one, loosen the bottom one, loosen the adjusters, set the chain approximately where you want it, and then tighten the adjusters, tighten the top, and tighten the bottom. At that point in time, you're going to find out that when you tighten everything down, you'll probably take some of the slack out of the chain and you'll have to do it a second time. So that's where we are. We'll let you know. I'll go to the other side and show you how much slack we have at this point. And Kevin's going to pull that adjuster back some towards the rear wheel in order to take some of this slack out. I'll show you what we end up with when we tighten it all down. Okay, we adjusted the tension on the front chain by loosening the rear wheel to get us some slack, and then moving the transmission forward and then tightening it down when we get what I consider to be pretty good slack here. All right, so I'm happy with this. So you've tightened both top and bottom bolts on the, okay, so the tranny adjustment for this is complete. Now we're going to do the rear wheel, and I'll show you how we do that. Okay, we got the primary chain adjusted so it has some slack in it. Got the drive chain adjusted so it has some slack in it. And I'm going to show you how we adjust the rear wheel so that it's aligned. Okay, this is a tool I made. It's just a stiff piece of wire with a slide on it. You could hook this over a known position that's the same on both sides of the bike. In this case, this bolt down here. And slide this down and pick out the center of the axle. Right about there. Okay? Now we'll take this to the other side, to the known position, which is the same bolt over here. And slide this around to the center of the axle. And the axle is the same distance from the swing arm front to on both sides. In other words, the wheel is aligned. That's a good way to do it. It may be a billionth of an inch off, but I tell you what, it's pretty well aligned. So it's a neat little tool, and it's easy to make. Okay, cool. All right, we're closing in on it. Kevin had to go home. What time is it? It's 3:30. Okay, it's been a busy day. The transmission over here is reassembled. I'll put the cover on after I put the oil in. I will put the oil in probably tomorrow morning because I like to let gaskets coagulate overnight before I put oil on them. So tomorrow morning I'll put oil in there. I'll go ahead and put the foot peg back on. That's easy enough. I'll do that shortly. And let's see, over on this side, primer is all ready. I put a brand new O-ring in it with sealer on it. And over here, I have the cover. It's got seal on it. And I'll put that on right now. Here's the extra plate that we did not put back in. By the way, if you buy a gasket maker, if that's expensive, and you finish a tube, believe me, cut the end off, cut the thing apart, scrape it out. There's enough gasket sealer left in there to do a complete engine overhaul. That's just me being cheap. But at about $14, $15 a tube, I'll be a little cheap. So anyway, I'm going to put this cover on, and I will let it sit overnight before putting oil in it. And then tomorrow we'll probably do a startup and a test ride. Okay, the primary is closed up. I got to hook these wires up. I'll do that next. The all sealed up, coagulating. Kickstarter installed. Shifter installed. I think it's very tight. It doesn't snap back. We'll see how that goes after we use it a few times. This is all sealed, but no oil in it. Do that tomorrow. And I'm going to call it a day. Dress it out in the morning. And that'd be cool to do a test ride. We'll see. You never know. And the time is 4 o'clock. 5 of anyway. Okay, I'm going to hook up these wires and call it a day.